Hello.
Hello.
Hi, welcome
Hello.
everybody. Welcome back.
Welcome to Femme Futch.
With Rhi Rhi and Helen. I'm Helen.
I'm Rhi Rhi, and we're back for episode 4.
I know, gosh.
Very exciting.
We've episode 4 already.
Can't believe it.
Gone so
Can't
quickly.
believe it.
So much fun. But yeah, I'm Helen. I go by she, her pronouns, and I'm a brunette, white woman, and identify as a cis lesbian.
Yes. Not straight today.
Not straight today. No, I did straight went through my head. It's just like cis straight woman is just such a kind of phrase. I'm really not desperate to go back there. At all.
It would ruin the podcast, Helen. You have to be gay.
It would ruin the podcast. Okay, that's it. That's it, everybody. You heard it here first. Go for the podcast. Anyway, cheers.
I'm Rhi Rhi. I go by she, her pronouns, and I'm a cis white woman, and I'm a lesbian.
Also lesbian.
Also a lesbian.
Funny that.
Not
Theme
straight.
of the podcast.
Today, what are we wearing?
Today I am back with another slogan t-shirt.
Nice.
This one's very gay friendly.
Yes.
It says choose love, and it's the pride flag underneath in all the pride rainbow colours, and I love it. It's a great great charity, Choose Love. It's for refugees and displaced people, and they have shops all over the world where you can go in, but you don't buy anything for yourself. You buy items that refugees might need, so emergency evacuation, or a sleeping bag, or a hot meal, or some water. Yeah, it's really cool. They do amazing work. So yeah,
Both cardigan girls today.
Both
I've got a nice
cardigans.
little pink cardigan and a little black leatherette little crop toppy thing, and some pink cargos today.
love it.
Gone for the pink cargos. I don't know if I'm too old to wear cargos.
No, definitely not. To be fair though, when you said you were going to put your cargo pants on, I was obviously expecting green,
Oh, like army
military cargo.
camouflage
Yeah.
pattern.
No, I'd have expected nothing less really. Pink always.
What else would I wear?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's gonna be pink.
Anyway, what are we talking about today? We're just going to do a bit of a...
Yeah, we're gonna have a
General
little bit of catch up.
Yeah.
It's been a few weeks, so thought we'd have a little catch up. As usual, bringing back Ruby's Rage.
Yes.
My favourite.
It's been a good segment. I feel like we've got quite a lot of rage out.
So, what have you been up to?
Well, where are we? We're in April. So when you're listening to this, it'll probably be out in May.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just had the Easter bank holiday, and it's my partner's Sarah's birthday just last week, and yeah, we had a great bank holiday, which is probably quite a contrast to yours, really.
We'll get onto that in a bit. We'll get onto that.
Yeah, well, we had a really good time. We cooked our first roast dinner. Nearly broke up over roast potatoes. So
What specifically about the potatoes?
well, Sarah's really good at cooking roast potatoes, so I was like, leave it up to you.
Yeah.
But I was very much like, I want to write down all the timings of everything because there's so many components.
There is.
And I wanted step by step. I'd had to pop out briefly, and Sarah chopped the potatoes, great, put them on the hob to boil, and I thought I put boiling water in with the potatoes. They put cold water in. So when it was boil the potatoes for 10 minutes, I put them on to boil. I was like, why is nothing happening? They need to be in the oven in 10 minutes. It meant we had to dynamically readjust
The timing.
all the timings. We've learned lessons.
Cooking together is hard.
Cooking together is hard, yeah. And we'd never done it before, and it was a miscommunication, but we got through it, and it was such a delicious dinner. So, but yeah, that was pretty much my bank holiday. So how was yours?
Well, mine was slightly different to yours. Working in hospitality for Easter bank holiday weekend.
I mean, I think you just don't need to say it anymore.
You can imagine what that was like.
So what's your Rhi Rhi Rage?
Mine this week. I mean, we could just put the whole weekend down, to be honest, with what it's like working in hospitality on a bank holiday weekend.
Sounds
But
right.
I've chosen a lovely gem from the weekend. So my rage this week is drunk drivers. Just, if you're going to have a drink, don't drive. Just do not drive. Don't drink and drive. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. It's not worth your life. It's not worth whoever else's life you could potentially end. It's not worth your driving licence. It's not worth your friends' lives. It's not worth your car. Just don't do it.
The damage you might cause, and yeah.
It's scary. So I had a Citroen at the weekend. Citroen. situation. But this guy was trying to drive his car and he was drunk, so I had to call the police. But it's just so stupid.
I mean, you just don't need that.
Yeah, just don't drink and drive. Why would you want to do that?
Life lessons with
Rhi
Rhi Rhi and Helen.
Someone. Don't drink and drive. Don't drink and drive. But what was your little present to Sarah?
Yes, so my present to Sarah, like the main one, is a holiday.
Ooh.
So we are going on holiday to Croatia, just for a week, and go to Dubrovnik, because Sarah loves Game of Thrones. Actually, that leads me on to my Rhi Rhi Rage.
Helen's Rhi Rhi's Rage.
Helen's Rhi Rhi Rage
of the week.
Yeah, choosing a destination, a holiday destination, when you're an LGBT couple is so much harder than I thought it was going to be. I think you're always going to have that like added level of kind of caution when you're out, and obviously being gay does eliminate a lot of places, especially if you're not straight passing. And Sarah, unfortunately for other people's perception of them, they like jump to a conclusion that they're a boy, and then obviously if they're seen like in women's spaces or whatever, like that can cause confrontation, and it just causes unnecessary like questions and people staring and stuff. And
then putting that in if you're in a different country where they're speaking a different language and you don't necessarily know all the laws off the top of your head, like it can be scary. Yeah,
completely. Because actually I think we would look a bit like a straight couple if we were holding hands walking around the streets. Yeah, so it just adds that extra level of complication. And it was, while researching different countries, it was kind of like, well, this one's legal, but you're not going to be treated well, or like this one's fine.
Just because it's legal, it doesn't mean it's safe.
No, it doesn't. And I think you've just got that added layer of caution.
So, travelling destination.
Yeah. So it's kind of, it's something I never had to consider before I came out, and I've just always thought like, oh, the world's completely my oyster, I can literally go wherever I want. Obviously there are dangerous places in the world, but it's
kind of different because we've got the level of like being women, and we've always got that in the back of our heads, but then when you bring in like being part of the queer community as well, there's a whole other layer.
So actually you say that about being women, so I was offered some work in Saudi Arabia, and I was seriously considering taking it. It was like some event work, and the money was amazing. Oh my god, like it would have just, I think that's what gets you, like the money is just so tempting, and it's too tempting. A lot of people do go for it, and I'm sure it would have been fine because I would have been with other sort of British people. But the only people I knew who'd gone there were men, and they had no issues, of course. It was a really weird kind of environment, and I just didn't feel comfortable, and the human rights of Saudi Arabia just horrific. I didn't even think about being queer. Like that just was like, if I'd been out, I would have 100% been like, no, I'm gonna rule that one out. But just being a woman, I just didn't feel comfortable, and I was worried that people wouldn't respect me as well, or like listen to what I had to say, even though I've got the same qualifications as some men. I would probably it would just make my life harder, and I was kind of not prepared for that, and thought it's not worth that money.
No.
So, but yeah, have you ever been anywhere that you felt like not great, or for like women, or for LGBT, or being gay?
It's a bit of like a weird one, because I mean, since coming out, I've not travelled that much. Like, well, we went to Bali together.
Yes, we did.
So
that was fun.
So Bali. I mean, Bali is. I mean, it was a bit of a weird one, because although like we went to Bali together and everything, it was like just as I come out, and although I was like in a relationship with a girl, like because she wasn't there with me, it wasn't like we were together there.
That's true.
So
because there were 5 of us, weren't there?
Yeah.
And I think being a group. It was just a group of 5 girls.
Yeah, we just like, to anyone that would look,
Yeah.
they'd just be like, oh, it's just a group of 5 tourist girls from England
Yeah,
that
that's
are
true.
over here. And then as well, I feel like Bali is such a popular tourist destination, not only for us, but the Australians, because all the Australians go there as well, because it's so close to them.
Of course, yeah.
There's loads of Australian people when we were there. So it is a bit of more like a, not party, but like, it's a travel destination, isn't it? So I think it would have been more acceptable. But then also it's not like we were trying to find clubs to go to that were specifically queer clubs or anything like that. So
it's weird though, Bali, that it was recently in the news because I think it's passed a law that's coming into play like in the next few years where they are banning sex outside marriage. And LGBT people fall into a horrible kind of conundrum because while homosexuality is legal in Bali, it is illegal for them to get married. Okay, they cannot have sex because they can't get married.
Yeah, you can only have sex
like,
if you're married.
it's just...
But then if you can't get married, it's like...
Yeah, and yeah, for LGBT people, it's going to put them into a really, really hard place because...
Well,
what do they do?
You can't live your life fully, can you?
Yeah. So Bali's not a great place.
No.
But it was beautiful when we went, wasn't it? It was really lovely. Anywhere else that you...
I have... Well, a country that I've been to quite a lot is Poland.
Okay.
So...
Really, actually.
Yeah. It's very nice. It's very beautiful. Poland. But I've been, I think, about 5 or 6 times. But last time I went to a wedding with my friends.
Ah.
But yeah, so Poland itself is like a very, very Catholic country.
Oh, is
like,
it?
Very, very Catholic. Like, so many people. And, like, my friend's wedding, although she's not necessarily, like, a strict Catholic, was very traditional Polish wedding. And I actually met one of her guests. She is queer as well, and so we had like a great time talking about what it's like in Poland and like being queer in Poland.
That's so interesting.
And she actually, she was sort of saying how hard it is to be gay. Like, she did have a partner, but there was like one of her work colleagues that she trusted that knew about her partner. So she had to keep it secret from like all of her work colleagues, anyone at work, a lot of their family as well. Like, some of her family had sort of disowned her as well. And it's just not like socially accepted as much.
Yeah.
And but we looked into it a bit, didn't we? And we were sort of looking at the sort of gay rights laws in Poland as well. And unfortunately, they were actually trying to set up like LGBT free zones,
which is just absolutely baffling. Like, because like you think there's a lot of places that you think of, there's like women friendly zones, like LGBT zones, but no, it's literally the opposite. LGBT
like, you
free.
are not welcome, you are not allowed, like, we're specifically going here because we know you can't come in here.
What's really baffling for me is like, obviously it's the Poland is in the EU, and I think when we were looking it up, it's they've threatened sort of dropping funding from these areas. So a lot of the areas have dropped these laws or whatever, all these zones. But it's still, they're going against EU law, which is like you can't discriminate against someone because of their sexuality and their gender. The threat of that, of losing that funding, of losing that EU support.
Like, we're not going to do it just because we need that money. Yeah. It's just crazy to think that, like, there's just literal zones that if you were potentially a queer person in Poland that you would just have to avoid because you're not safe and not welcomed in.
So where, like, is there anywhere that you would really love to go that you would maybe question now, like, going or have second thoughts about going?
Mexico. I'd really like to go to Mexico. I don't really know.
Anywhere specific in Mexico?
Just want to go. Maybe Cancun. It's like, for us, it's a long way to go and it's very expensive. So if you're going to go somewhere, I'd like to go and experience like culture and like that sort of thing. And like, is it safe to? Yeah,
I think it would be hard, but I mean, at least it's not illegal. I don't think. Is it illegal? No. Well, that's not one thing.
Yeah. Not illegal. God. I think
it's the bare minimum.
Mexico's very Catholic, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, it's funny, Mexico, I was watching Cara Delevingne's Planet Sex series, and there was the episode. It's really good. I learned a lot, actually, and I thought the gender episode was the best because it was talking about in Mexico they recognise a third gender, where, now I might get this pronunciation wrong, but I believe they're called mujeres, which is a third gender. These people don't go by he or she, so I believe they go by they or this person or that person.
Okay, so literally, so non-binary terms.
Non-binary.
Yeah.
And I think they are signed male at birth, but then grew up and their parents realised that they're mouches and they wear women's clothing and dress as women. So essentially trans women. And yeah, they're officially recognised, which I think is really lovely. And they have celebrations, and it's very kind of, for a country that's maybe quite anti-LGBT, it recognises obviously that sexuality, but they recognise that their gender.
Where would you go?
So I've always wanted to go to Morocco. Now, I know that's Northern Africa, and I believe it's a Muslim country. So that off the back is not going to be good. No. That's another place like Saudi, or sort of Malaysia or Iran where it's illegal. And I'm pretty sure it's illegal in Morocco.
Yeah, I think so.
So I just don't, I think I'd really think twice about going to anywhere where it's actually illegal to be gay, because I think that first of all is kind of like it's a no. It's interesting actually talking about like countries. I was working in Birmingham last year as part of the Commonwealth Games, and a friend of mine who I was working with, she told me that there's a Pride House which they do in I think most Commonwealth Games, depending on the country, but in the UK, this Pride House was somewhere people could go and have like a safe space, and if you were gay and from a country in the Commonwealth that it wasn't legal to be gay there, you could actually go and seek asylum. So as well as the parties, they had a really serious side to them.
Message behind.
Yeah. And so athletes could actually go there and just be like, look, I'm gay, or maybe they're trans, or whatever, and they could say, I can't go back to my country, it's illegal, can I seek asylum? And they would help with that process. And I was kind of like, oh, I'm so proud. Proud of Birmingham. And of the UK really, because obviously we're representing the Commonwealth. I believe it's 34 out of 54 of the sovereign states, it's still illegal to be gay. And it was Tom Daley who was like kind of pushing the LGBT rights for the Commonwealth Games. But yeah, it was like a really positive aspect of the fact that there's just obviously it's illegal in so many places. It's still within the Commonwealth. It's
ridiculous though, isn't it? Like how many? 30, 34?
Yeah, 34 at the time of this time last year. It might have changed, but
at least the Commonwealth have done something right when the game's there. Well, as we've been like talking about being gay,
I mean, it is a theme.
Surprising theme in the podcast, being queer. What we do laugh about sometimes is the whole fact that like legally, a lot of the time, when we're saying like it's illegal to be gay in like all these countries, a lot of the time it just means men. Like lesbianism often isn't covered, which is just so strange.
I mean, if a man's not involved, did it even happen?
Does it even count? There's no man. It's not real.
Clearly not. I mean, in the eyes of the law,
it's not worth anything, is it?
I think in a lot of the countries we did mention, like, I know for a fact Malaysia and Saudi is illegal across the board. And I think Morocco as well. But yeah, I think it was the UK that I never realised it was never illegal to be a lesbian. Yeah. No. Which is really cool. Like, if you think of like Anne Lister, back in like the 1800s, she was just wearing men's clothes and having relationships with women.
Being a boss bitch.
Yeah.
Running her own mind.
She was great.
Yeah. Writing all her diaries.
But like, isn't that just so? It just speaks volumes for women's rights, because it's just women were second-class citizens for so long, and the fact that two women could have a relationship where you were quite literally rejecting the patriarchy and men, it just was unheard of for the men making the laws. They were like, this can't possibly, don't worry guys, don't worry, they have to make this one illegal because it'll never be, it's just unfathomable to them. They can't.
They don't have a brain. They can't use their own brain to decide that they don't want this anymore.
God no. And of course, how could they possibly have sex?
Oh no.
How?
It's not a penis. It doesn't count as sex.
Not one in sight.
There's two. Not okay.
Oh no, definitely not okay if there's two. Like, there's only one penis allowed. I mean, this is a lesbian podcast and now we're talking about penises. I mean,
we've got to stop there.
We've got to stop there.
No more penises, we promise.
So in a bit more of a lighter section of the podcast, let's move on.
We've talked about some countries where it's illegal to be who we are.
Let's talk about marriage and happy marriage, because it has been legal.
Not just marriage, though.
Not just marriage.
Marriage at first sight.
Married at first sight.
Yeah, so we were so excited to watch it, weren't we? And I hadn't seen anything about it because I'm not a big TV person. Like, I've got a bit of Netflix, which I watch occasionally, but generally I don't tend to follow TV series.
See, Married at First Sight, I feel like I've watched this since it came out years and years ago.
Yeah.
And I originally watched the Australian one. I think was always been first.
Yeah.
And oh my goodness, I love a bit of trash TV.
Yeah.
And this is like reality TV, I think, at its finest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is at its finest. And it is a big commitment though. It's on like 4 days a week.
It's just so typical, isn't it? Like, can we also just discuss as well, like, the whole, like, for years and years and years and years and years, we've been like fighting for, and everyone's like, oh no, you can't get gay married, like the sanctity of marriage, blah blah blah. And they're like, oh, but let's get people to marry a stranger on telly, because that'll be good.
So gay marriage has been legal in the UK since, I think it's 2014. Wow.
It's not even been 10 years yet.
No, it's not.
No.
But look how far we've come. We've now got lesbians getting married
on telly.
On TV. At first sight.
At first sight.
Marrying a stranger.
We can do it now, too.
There was also a gay couple as well, 2 gay men.
Yeah.
But the lesbians were all the ones we wanted to focus on.
Lesbians. Yeah. As you can tell by the podcast, we are here for the lesbians.
We are indeed. Not gonna lie, I kind of just wanted to watch them.
Yeah.
I would have happily cut out the rest of the drama.
Yes, that came along with all of them straight couples.
That was the season, Rhi.
Yeah.
With that guy Matt. That I knew. Oh my goodness, cackling.
I didn't know we were going to discuss this.
No, I completely forgot. I've just gone there like, oh my goodness,
You've outed it yourself.
I've outed it myself. No,
right, well there we are. Juicy Matt drama upcoming soon.
Hilarious.
Let's go back to the beginning. Okay. You told me about it. That Maths was going to be on, and that there was going to be a lesbian couple. So
I did.
Like, right.
Yes.
Well, I will watch it then. If there's going to be lesbians, I will watch a reality TV show that also has straight people on it.
Yes. So. They were brilliant.
Yes.
They were on they started off in the first round of couples.
Yeah. Zoe and Jenna,
that was it.
So I watched it with Laura, and we were watching away. We had to get 4 episodes in until we actually got to Zoe and Jenna's, which was very frustrating. I had to sit through
I should have told you. I'm sorry.
It's alright. Well, because I think by the time that I'd started watching it, it was when it was still being released every week. And then so I think we watched 2 and there was no Zoe and Jenna, and then we kept waiting. So we finally got there. And then as we were watching Zoe and Jenna's wedding, I was like, I recognise Jenna. Like, why do I recognise Jenna? And then it got to like a bit where they had the wedding, and it like skipped through the crowd at the wedding, and I noticed Josie
and Stevie.
Yes. And then so Stevie, for people that don't know, has a YouTube channel.
Our YouTube Celestians.
Yes.
From episode 2.
Yeah, she is a Celestian. She talks a lot about sex education as well, specifically to do with lesbian and gay sex as well.
I mean, I learned a lot from Stevie.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, she was great for my research when I was like, oh my god, how do I do this? What am I doing? But she's also just really lovely. She's really funny. I believe she's also disabled as well. She raises a lot of awareness for sort of disabilities and being a lesbian, and she's dated some famous lesbians, is that right? I'm not up with the...
Well, in the American queer community. She did date Ellie Hills for a bit as well.
Ah, okay. I don't know who that is. No. So I'm not very good. I'm not up on my...
That's okay, Helen. We'll do an episode of like Celestians, the YouTube Celestian world, and introduce you to everyone.
Okay. You need to like hold up little cards. I'll be like,
yeah. We'll create like a YouTube lesbian version of the chart.
Okay.
Like the L word, but with YouTube lesbians.
That's
I think
a good
one
idea.
does exist. I think Rose and Rosie created one. But
Okay.
then, because they know them all as well, so they actually got to fill out the chart a lot with like a lot more
Clever.
people on it, but then obviously they can't share it all.
Of course. So
we
Rose
can
and
do our
Rosie,
own
they're
version.
British
They're the British
YouTube.
YouTube
Oh,
lesbians.
they're hilarious. But so Stevie,
Yeah.
she's over in the UK
Yeah,
now. She
she
no
lives
longer
in
lives in
UK
America because
With
she
her wife,
married Josie.
Josie, who is Jenna's sister.
And that was why you recognised
Yes.
Jenna. Yes.
So then
Of
I
course.
got really excited and I was like, Laura, it's like Stevie and Josie. And then I was like, wait, like Jenna is Josie's sister.
Makes
and then I was
sense.
like, oh, okay, like I know where I recognise her from now. And then, but yeah, it was so nice to see their wedding. It was very nice. I mean, for us as well, it's always really nice when you see a nice little,
Happy go.
happy go relationship, but also when one of them is a bit of like a more femme lesbian, and
Yeah.
when the other one's a bit more of like a mask lesbian.
I'd say Zoe's very much a butch kind of lesbian.
Yeah.
Wore a suit, has got short hair,
Yeah.
quite traditional butch lesbian.
Yeah, like not big into makeup. And
Works
like,
on a building site, I believe. Like she does
Yeah.
contract work or something.
Yeah, she a quantity surveyor.
Something like that.
I don't.
Yeah. I don't know. And then Jenna wore a beautiful wedding dress.
Yeah.
Obviously, being lesbians, there was a possibility that like they would both be in a dress, or they would both be in a suit, which I guess was fine. But like I think for them, they both were attracted to like Jenna as a femme was attracted to more butch lesbians.
Yeah.
Zoe was attracted to more femme lesbians,
Yeah.
and it was beautiful. I just remember them like
Nice.
seeing each other, and they were so happy.
It was. It was cute.
Yeah.
So we obviously enjoy seeing them.
Mhm.
Representation, that's what we need on the telly. It's
Yeah.
great.
It
The
was
thing,
good.
the thing that annoyed me the most
Mhm.
though about their story was the fact that Jenna is a vegan and Zoe is not a vegan, and I just feel like the whole time they were just like pitted against each other. It
I mean,
was-
the editing, I
I
think.
know, the edit. I mean, I know it's
It
a
says a
TV
lot.
show. I understand it's a TV show. There is editing involved. They're obviously going to do things to make things more dramatic. But it was almost, you'd watch it and you just think, oh, so nothing's wrong in their relationship, but because there's no drama, let's pretend they've had a fight
Yeah.
about Jenna being a vegan
Yes.
again.
Again.
And it happened like 4 or 5 times.
I know. And it was like groundbreaking, like, well, I don't know if I can live with you, like
Yeah.
going forward. And it was just
we
like,
need to break up unless you're going to be a vegan. And it's like,
and Jenna's not like that. And
At
she
all.
came across really bad. And like, she just came across really moody and really kind of like sulky. Like, that was the impression you kind of got from her. And then Zoe became across like really harsh and like stubborn because she wouldn't even try Jenna's food. When I believe in reality, they
Yeah.
were very much open to each other.
Yeah.
And kind of like, this isn't a deal breaker.
Yeah, but they needed to find some drama
Yeah.
because we'd like to point out of every single couple on the show, Zoe and Jenna are the only couple that are still together.
Yes.
So
We obviously listened to that podcast, The Honesty Box, with
Yes.
Zoe and Shanita.
Shanita.
And that was really interesting because Zoe, she said a lot about how her and Jenna just got pitted against each other.
Yeah.
And it was really wild and
Yeah.
it was such a
I
shame it
think
wasn't
she literally
accurate.
said on one of the episodes, when you watch it back, you just think we have loads of fights about Jenna being a vegan when it was actually like 10 minutes of one day.
Yeah. And it wasn't a big deal.
No.
I guess the cameras would have been like, okay, you're boring, you're just happy and in love.
Yeah,
And
like, oh no,
sleeping together.
our experiment has worked. We found 2 people that actually want to be in love and get married.
oh,
no.
damn it.
It's not enough drama.
It's not.
Quick, get back to the streets.
Although talking of drama, I think we should talk about Matt.
Let's talk about that. There was a point in the show, it
Okay.
went on for a few weeks, and
Yeah.
then they brought in a new couple.
That was it, sorry. They brought in a new couple. Yeah, we've been like very much like getting used to it. And they brought in a new couple. And I just remember like screaming at the TV being like, oh my God, I know him. And then I was like, oh my God, I went on a date with him. I went on 2 dates.
There was like one date or 2. Oh.
And like nothing happened. We had 2 days, and then I was like, oh no, you're another one of the men who are doesn't fit in a box because obviously I'm a lesbian. And that was
it was not for you.
No, it was my phase of like picking completely random men, but anyway, that was just I was shocked, and this was obviously pre-pandemic, and then he went on the show. I think it was during the pandemic or like 21 or so, I can't remember when it was filmed, so it was a few years later. But yeah, I've never known anyone like on reality TV, and it was such a shock.
And arguably, he probably came out the most hated man on the show.
I think he did.
He was awful.
Yeah,
Spoiler
was
alert
awful.
for anyone that's not watched it. Basically, he just went off with someone else's wife and they broke up 2 marriages, and then in the end, they're not even together.
It was bad.
I think it lasted like 2 weeks, their relationship.
And actually what I love most is that Zoe, one of the lesbians, she really didn't like him, and she went for him and kind of just really challenged him, and she wasn't afraid of him. And I think the problem is he is a very kind of alpha male guy who is
used to getting his own way.
I think
his toys out the pram when he doesn't get his own way.
And he, like, I don't know, anger issues. Like when I met him, I never got. No. I don't know. I got a vibe. And I was like, not for me.
You
but
knew
like,
it wasn't for you, but you didn't realise that he was like. Had
there
serious issues.
Other levels, and it was just, I think, in that boiling pot of being on reality TV and being in that experiment, and it just it was awful. I mean, the quality of the reality TV was top notch.
He brought the drama.
Like, there was so much drama, but yeah, that was quite scary. And yeah, Zoe talking about on the podcast when
afterwards,
it was after the filming had happened, and sorry, I'm just remembering a line because they were like screaming at each other, and Matt was like, "Yeah, but you got shit hair," and she went back and was just like, "At least it doesn't look like
super noodles."
like super noodles."
I don't know how he does it though.
He's a barber as well.
I know he's a barber. I think he must like put gel in it, and then I think he like combs it different ways. But why?
I have no idea.
Why?
Quite. So that was entertaining. So that series was, we were quite invested in that one.
Yeah, we did like maths.
Yeah.
But something we were going to say was we think it's just a bit rubbish, like the men that they choose for these shows. Like, do they not vet them? Like, before they go on? I
think the men in particular, because a lot of the women are all like, I'm here because I've run out of options and I'm really struggling and I can't find any decent men. Yeah. So please match with me with my one true love.
Yeah.
And I think the Australian one is worse.
Yeah.
Is worse than the British one. Like, I'm currently watching the Australian series, and I don't know, some of the men are just, they're cheating, they're like, they're being all nice and like and happy families, and then suddenly they're kind of like, I don't find you sexually attractive, and then they sleep with them. Like, it's just kind of, it's a massive like head fuck for the poor women. And I think as well, like, I'm noticing a bit of a trend with the fact that the men, they all expect that they want that kind of Barbie doll, blonde hair, bikini body, kind of like traditional skinny, like stereotypically beautiful woman. And it's the men who are the picky ones, and the women are kind of like, I'm going to look for morals and values.
Yeah.
And the men are kind of like, but you don't like the beach, and you don't get to live in the ocean. So we're not compatible. Like, it's
like, if you're compatible with like all of the things that you think are important in life, then you're probably compatible.
Like, your hobbies and interests can be completely different.
Yeah.
But as long as you've got compatibility on values, morals, that's the most important thing. And it really feels like a lot of the men are just, they're on it to get famous.
Yeah.
And it's just a really weird show to be on to get famous, in my opinion. Like,
it's like, go get on Love Island if you want to be famous, or like if you're doing it for Instagram.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny with reality TV. I just don't think it's good for anyone to go on. No. I personally would never go on a reality TV. I think mentally, you'd really suffer. Like the Matt's original partner, Married at First Sight, Gemma, she publicly said is like she's really struggled with her mental health since being on the show.
Because that as well, like the whole situation, like it's obviously not very nice if you're with someone, you like get married to them at first sight, and then they go off behind your back with someone else, and the whole situation was just awful, because it's like how that should have gone down is if he decided he had feelings for someone else who was there on the show, he should have talked to his wife first and sat her down and said, look, I understand it's not very good for you, but unfortunately this has happened with someone else. But the way she found out was literally every single other person on the show found out in a room, and then she walked into that room and she didn't know.
They had that
and they went off
explosive
together.
dinner party.
Oh, it was awful.
Oh, goodness me.
It's like, not only have you just been a really horrible person to her, you've gone about it in just completely the wrong way as well. It was awful. So awful.
I mean, but it's entertaining TV, you know? What can we do?
For the views.
For the views. There's currently, unfortunately, no lesbians on the Australian one, which is a shame. I'd be probably more invested if there were. But there is it's chaotic, as per.
Have you ever watched Love is Blind?
Yes.
Yeah.
But that one's a bit strange.
Yeah.
Not like fully. I feel like I've only ever watched like the first.
But I feel
bit.
like it's less strange than Married at First Sight.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Because
at
that's
least
trying
you
to
get to speak to someone. Yeah.
And
That's
you're
trying to find a connection.
Yeah, you're taking away the
rather than physical attraction.
Yeah. But I haven't watched that one. I don't watch that much. I don't watch Love Island. I've never watched Love Island. Is there a gay Love Island?
No.
No. Okay.
If there was one, we would know about it, hadn't we?
This is true.
We would be aware if there was a gay Love Island. You'd know about it.
Yeah,
if I found out about that, you'd know about it. But
okay.
There was like, I think they always say like, because people always say, don't they, like, oh, you should do a gay Love Island, you should do a gay one. Like, logistically, how is that going to work? Especially if there's bisexuals.
I mean, well, you just wouldn't have any men, surely.
I know, but it's very like, all of the things that they do in it is very gender norms, and like, what if, and then if you say in a gay Love Island, like, there could be gay guys, like, there could be gay girls, like, there could be lesbians, there could be gay men, there could be bisexual people.
Would it not work? Maybe they could change the rules up and have like Team A and Team B, but then I suppose Team A and Team B would just get together and...
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh.
Doesn't really work. How it would logistically work, gay Love Island.
Okay.
But I think they're doing an older Love Island.
Oh,
like
cool.
People who are older.
What, over 25?
Yeah.
Great.
Well, some people are like nearly 30 that go on it.
Are they?
Yeah, I think there's been like one or
I
two.
feel so
but then
old.
I just feel sorry for them, because it's like, no matter what you do, if you're like a 30-year-old guy and all the girls coming in are like 18, 19, 20, it's just... But yeah, so I think they're doing one for like people who are older. That'll be fun for them.
Long live reality TV.
Yes.
But just with more lesbians.
Yeah. Who doesn't want more lesbians on telly?
Quite.
So I think that's everything for this week, really,
yeah.
isn't it?
We've covered a lot. It's been a journey.
It's been a nice mix of Married at First Sight and travelling abroad, if you go.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of everything.
A bit of everything. A bit of like gay rights and a bit of trash TV.
Yeah.
And... yeah, always wanting more lesbians.
Yes. We hope you've enjoyed it.
Thank you. Yeah, so much for listening. We've got our email address, which is Femme Futch Podcast. Yeah, Femme Futch Podcast, all one word, @gmail.com.
Yeah.
So get in touch if you'd like to email us.
Find us on TikTok and Instagram as well.
And YouTube.
As
well.
well.
So if you're listening.
If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, you can also watch us on YouTube with a video.
Yes. But yeah, listen to, you can find us anywhere you get your podcasts.
Bye for now.
Bye.